J-Lo has recently said that, in her words, that she had PTSD from how things didn't work out the first time, and she had reservations the second time around. And a lot of those doubts are coming back to haunt her. And these are some of my upcoming videos coming out. They're not out yet, so please subscribe so you can see them as soon as they come out. Now the saga with J-Lo and Ben just keeps getting crazier and crazier. Every day there's something new with them, or there's some new twist, and usually it comes out and it just, being a former fan of Ben, everything that comes out is just making him look worse and worse. And it's not just stuff that critics will say, well, it's stuff J-Lo's planting. And I don't believe that's the case. I think a lot of the stuff, even that we suspect that Ben or his team planted in the news, in the media, makes him look bad still. Like even the stuff going back to when he said that he let her file the divorce papers so that she can kind of have the last word on it. That makes him look like such a jerk. And I don't understand how that's doing someone a favor. Unless I'm missing something, I don't know. But J-Lo, but here's the thing. J-Lo has spoken recently that she had a lot of reservations this second time around because of how things ended the first time. And rightfully so. And she probably should have listened to her gut. Because I think that in hindsight, probably at the time, her gut probably told her it was a bad idea. But obviously J-Lo is someone who is idealistic, and she wants to, she's a person that wants to be in a relationship, she wants to be in love, and I think she romanticizes stuff probably a little bit too much. She probably builds up the person in her head the way she wants them to be, and unfortunately no one could be what you build them up to be. That's just not how life is. Unfortunately, we all have flaws. That's the thing. And then when you're with someone 24/7, those flaws can come out. And if you're looking at it realistically, then you accept it and you just keep moving forward. But if you idealize them and those flaws start coming out, then things can start falling apart. Now J-Lo probably should have not gone through the second time around, but you could imagine that Ben is probably a convincing person, because look at all the people around him who enable him. So you have to imagine that he's probably a pretty charming person. I guess how would you say it? You would say like he's probably a guy when he wants something, he probably lays it on thick, and he's probably pretty convincing. I mean, considering his job is being an actor. So that probably helps. And I think someone like Ben is, because he's such a big star, and he's been a star for so long, that I think people around him want him to be, kind of think of him as of a certain way. And then he's not like that, but then when he wants something from someone, he probably puts on that charm, and then he becomes that person that they thought he was, or that they idealize, that they want him to be. So like someone like J-Lo, she wants him to be a certain way, and she has an idea of how he should be, or what he should say. And then when she gets upset, or when she doesn't want to be in a relationship, because this is the thing, he was the one that pursued. We all know that he pursued her. So what that kind of tells you is that she was probably saying no at first. She was probably saying, hey, you know what? I don't want to do this again. It sounds good. I'd like to, but it didn't work the first time. It's probably not going to work the second time. I don't want to go through all this. Because J-Lo's been through it a lot before. She's already been married and divorced 3 times. So she probably was hesitant to do it a 4th time. And then when Ben comes back and is probably begging her and probably making her promises and laying on thick to her, that she gives in. And he's being involved with her kids, and he's talking about pushing to buy a big house together. Because this is the thing, like even going back to that house that they bought together, it's not like they bought, on their terms, like $1 million house that they can easily, that it's something they can easily walk away from, and with their big money, that it's no big deal. They bought a house that, even with each of their money, that's a significant purchase. That's not insignificant. Even having millions of dollars, even being worth millions of dollars, buying a $60 million house is not a light task. Like we talked about before, just to cool the house and the property taxes and the staff to maintain it and the water bills and everything else. I mean, that's not a small undertaking. So he's making these promises to her. She gives in, and then he walks away. So J-Lo's probably looking at it now thinking, I should have listened to my gut. And she probably should have. And it's kind of sad that it's got to be like that. And that's life. Unfortunately, that's life. We've all been through it. We've all been through, bad breakups. We've all been through where people promise us stuff and we have expectations of people that they don't live up to or that they don't want to live up to. And we've all been hurt. So that's part of life. But it makes it worse when you're hesitant, like she was probably hesitant, and then he's pushing it and making promises and saying, hey, this is going to be different this time, and we're gonna blend our families, and we're gonna buy this big enormous house, and we're gonna sail into the sunset, because they're not 20 years old anymore. They're older now. And she probably gave into it, and then he walks away. He becomes the old the old Ben Affleck that everyone knew he was. And real quick, I end like this, and this is a stupid story, but I'm sure you heard it. It's the old, what is it, the frog and the scorpion, where the scorpion and the frog are one side of the water, and they need to get to the other side, and the scorpion says, let me ride on your back, frog. The frog says, no, you're a scorpion, you'll sting me. And the scorpion's like, hey, if I did that, we'd both die and we'd both drown, so of course I'm not going to sting you. So the frog thinks about it, he says, okay, fine, I'll give you a ride across the river. So he gets on his back, frog swimming across the river. Sure enough, midway through, scorpion stings him. And the frogs, as they're going down and drowning, because the frog's dying, as they're both drowning, the frog says to the scorpion, why did you sting me? We're both going to die. And the scorpion said, I'm a scorpion, I sting frogs. So that's the same thing. Like, Ben is Ben. That's what he's done to every single woman in his life. That's what he's done. He's kind of played them, laid on the charm early, and then just bolted. As soon as there's expectations or things get a little rough, or maybe the relationship's not perfect, like no relationships are perfect, he just bails. So, and that's what he's done in every relationship up to this point, and that's what he did to J-Lo.